This is it for DJI. They've blown it now. So you're looking for a gimbal, but you can't decide between the DJI RSC2 and the Zhiyun Weebill 2. Now in this video I'm going to be comparing them both to help make your decision a little bit easier. Now normally I don't tell people what to do, but in this case I'm pretty confident with saying that if you go for the DJI, you're going to be much happier with that choice. And I'm going to explain why I wouldn't go anywhere near the Zhiyun. I'm sorry Zhiyun, I've been a fan for a while, but let us down on this one I think. Now we know that DJI products set the standard for all other products, especially with drones and gimbals, and a lot of other companies pinch ideas from them. So you know you're going to get great quality with the DJI anyway before you even open the box. And I will say that Zhiyun have been upping the game. The materials feel so much better quality, and it's a huge step up from that very plasticky, cheap design of the Weebill S. Now I've been using the DJI RS2 for a while now, and the RSC2 feels pretty much the same to be honest, so no surprises there, same comfortable grip. But then on the Weebill they've relocated the joystick, and that's right where your thumb wants to be. It's like you've got to reposition your hand a little bit further down the grip, but that means you've got to take more weight above. You want it up there, but then it gets in the way of your thumb. It's really not comfortable. And I don't think that is a very ergonomic place to put that, because you can't accurately move that joystick around. So it doesn't... Yeah, they've moved it, but it's not the right place, personally. I'm not feeling that. So both gimbals feature the locking mechanism, and you can condense them both down for portability, and it's not going to wobble around. But what I will say is the levers to adjust the plates and the axes are very loose on the Weebill. Look at that. It doesn't feel very secure, and it's the same when you put the camera in. It seems very easy to knock that by accident, then your camera could fall out. So I much prefer the design on the DJI for that. You feel like you're locking something in place. There's a lot of tension there. You've also got a little bit more wiggle room with the size or length of your camera body, because on the DJI you've actually got this control here. You can actually move the camera from left to right here, which will give you a few more balancing options. But also, if that's not enough, you can adjust it here. If your camera is an odd shape or size, or if you've got a cage on there for example, then you've got the option of moving this as well. Whereas on the Zhiyun, you haven't got that. There's no way to adjust this bit here. You're stuck just with that plate there. So to put the Weebill 2 into underslung mode, you can just unscrew the tripod from the base and then screw it into this section here, and then you're in underslung mode instantly. Nice and quick. I like that. I like the design of this. Or you could have a spare tripod or grip and just have that on all the time. Now the RSC2 has this foldable design, so you can actually just unlock this bit here and then fold this down, lock it back in, double tap the trigger, and then that puts you in underslung mode. Now, I really like this. It feels a lot more comfortable having that grip rather than using the little tripod that you get with the Zhiyun. So I love this, it's really cool. However, it just feels a little bit clunky to set up, because if I want to go back to normal now, I have to either power the gimbal off or put it in sleep mode to get it back to normal. And now, to me, that's not as fast as just unscrewing that and putting it in there. If somehow they can make that design a little bit quicker, that would be amazing. Now it's a great design because you can also go into portrait mode from here, nice and easily by just double tapping the M button. And now you're in that mode, so you can do all your TikToks and your Instagram stories or reels. Super cool. So you can also put the Weebill 2 into portrait mode. You just switch it over into portrait mode on the screen. Then you want to switch the grip over to briefcase mode, and there you go. Portrait mode. You can obviously hold this with two hands, but I feel like the portrait mode on the DJI is a little bit better. So in Vortex mode on the Weebill 2, it actually rotates the opposite way of where you're pressing. So I'm pressing left on the joystick right now, and it's going clockwise. And if I press right, it goes anti-clockwise, which is a bit odd to me. Whereas on the DJI, when you press the joystick to the right, it actually goes clockwise, like you'd imagine. I don't know what's happened there. Maybe they can fix that in a firmware update, but it's just a little bit strange to me how it's the opposite way around. Especially considering on all the other models that they've done that on, it's the right way around. So when the Weebill 2 was announced a couple of weeks ago, and I saw that they had this built-in flip screen on it, I thought, whew, this is it for DJI, they've blown it now. But actually, it's not that beneficial. It's too small that you wouldn't replace the camera LCD screen to monitor, so it doesn't really add anything there. But it does make navigating the menus a little bit easier than it is on the RSC2. You have to use this little scroll wheel. It's a little bit more difficult because to access some of the features you have to press into a menu and then scroll through that menu again. It'd be nice if it just was laid out a little bit more different, but you can use the app and use all the same functions within the app, and that's easier. But I don't like using apps. I just like to be able to access all the features on the piece of equipment itself. So that is the only benefit. It's just a little bit fiddly having to do that, and I'm afraid that, you know, when you like need to be quick on a shoot, getting that out quickly, it could break or you might bash it against something. I don't know, I feel like it's an extra thing to be careful of. And if you didn't want to have that out, there's no other way of accessing your screens or knowing what mode you're in. The only other thing you could do is just use that lever. So that's there at least, but it doesn't give you full options. So even though it does come with this flip out screen, I wouldn't let that blow your mind because it's not that big of a deal. Because of where it is, you can't place any accessories. For example, on the DJI, I can put this handle on the side, which will allow me to mount a full-size monitor, whereas you can't do that on this. It leaves very little room for monitoring. Now you can put one on this side, I suppose, but unless you're left-handed, you know, I want the option of having both. So the RSC2 is actually slightly lighter than the Weebill 2, which surprised me. But they can both support the same payload of up to 3 kilograms, which is perfect for the Canon R6. It also states that on both of the websites. However, I'm having problems with the Weebill 2, with the Canon R6 and the 15 to 35mm lens. It doesn't want to balance it. It says all of the axes are balanced perfectly, it's calibrated absolutely fine, but it just judders and it makes this awful sound all the time. I'm really not happy with it. It doesn't do what it says it does, unless this is a faulty unit, I'm not sure. As well as that, the DJI moves really smoothly, it responds really well to your movements. No problems, no sign or no feeling of the motors struggling whatsoever. Mozzarella. Whereas the Weebill 2, it just doesn't like it. It wobbles and it makes funny noises. Yeah, there's like a judder every time you move it quickly. So you've really got to control the movement of the gimbal. But sometimes you just need to move fast and have faith and trust that the gimbal's going to work with you and be alright. Whereas this one, I just don't. So I had no stabilisation issues with the DJI at all in any of the modes whatsoever. It worked absolutely perfectly. Whereas on the Weebill 2, it struggled a lot with this camera setup. I'm sure it would be absolutely fine with a smaller and lighter camera, but unfortunately, even though it says it handles this camera and lens combination, it actually didn't do it very well. So if you've got the same camera as me, the R6, then I wouldn't recommend this gimbal. Surprisingly, the DJI RSC2 is more affordable than the Weebill 2. So what that means is you can either save yourself a little bit of money, or you could go for the Pro combo. If you don't use the Raven Eye, definitely save yourself some money, or use that extra money that you've saved to put towards some accessories like the extension arms. I'll leave a link to everything below. So which one do I prefer? Which one do I recommend? 100% without a doubt, the DJI RSC2 over the Weebill 2 any day. No matter who you are, I think this one is way better value for money. I think it's going to last longer, it's built better, it's more reliable. I just don't think the screen is enough of an incentive and works well enough to make it so that I would choose that over the DJI. Now, I'm not being paid to say any of this. These are my opinions, completely honest, hands down winner for the DJI, which is a completely different story to what it was a year ago. So if you've watched this video and you're still not quite sure whether either of these are right for you, I've got some more gimbal videos that you can see up here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more gear reviews, tutorials, reaction videos and breakdowns, and lots more. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.